Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about MAGU. Now the reason I want to talk about the fruit is because there has been a drastic increase in the amount of players that have eaten this fruit, especially in PvP. I've versed a lot more MAGU users than ever before. So I want to see why that is and see if the fruit needs a nerf or not in update 5. So before we get into that, if you can hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so MAGU is one of the more unique fruits in the game. It is one of the only two legendary fruits that has 5 moves, but the differences between MAGU and Mara is all of MAGU's moves are attack moves. Every single one of them deals damage, whereas Mara only has 4 attack moves and then it has Fireflight. Another thing that MAGU has to its advantage is that 3 out of the 5 moves have no damage cap. Like, you can keep putting stat points in and the damage will keep increasing. Now the 2 moves that don't have damage caps is Magma Swamp, which caps at 35 damage per tick, and then Magma Fish, which caps at 135 damage. So even though these 2 moves cap, these 2 moves aren't really the essential moves in MAGU in my opinion. They're not really that important to have a damage cap. Like, it doesn't really affect the fruit that much. If anything, the other 3 moves that don't have a damage cap are way more useful to MAGU and way more important. Because if these moves did have a damage cap, I think MAGU would be a lot weaker than it is right now. So let's get into that. So first, the 2 moves that do have a damage cap, which is Magma Swamp and Magma Fist. Magma Swamp really isn't that useful of a move. Like, it's good, it's okay. Like, especially if you're fighting a boss, like you're, Magma Swamping behind a wall or something. But other than that, the move really isn't that great, especially for PvP. Like, you have to activate it pretty quickly and then try to get out. Maybe you can guard break them. Maybe if they're low health, you can Magma Swamp. But other than that, there's not really much uses for it. I think it's one of the more useless moves on the fruit. And it's not really good for mobility either. So it's just kind of there. So I don't really have a problem with it being capped. Honestly, if it was uncapped, it really wouldn't matter either way. And then Magma Fist. Now this move being capped is slightly more important because it is one of the only 2 projectile moves on the fruit. But Magma Fist is a slower Magma Hound, but the difference is it has a bigger AoE. So I'll give it that. But once again, it doesn't really affect the fruit that much because there's Magma Hound, which isn't damage capped. So I don't really see why this move really needs a damage cap. If it didn't, I think MAGU would be way more broken. But once again, it doesn't really matter. Now let's get into the other 3 moves, which is Magma Hound, Magma Rain, and Magma Eruption. Now, Magma Eruption is definitely one of the most broken moves in this game. Hands down. Honestly, I can see a good argument with it being the most broken move in the game. And the reason is one, like I said before, it has no damage cap. And number 2, this is the easiest combo extender I have ever seen. You literally just have to do 5 M1s. And if you're just walking forward a little bit, once they get knocked back, you just use Magma Eruption. And most people have enough stat points to where Magma Eruption is big enough, because the more stat points you put into your Devil Fruit, the bigger Magma Eruption is. So that makes it even more broken because there's not like a set radius players can predict. Depending on how much stat points they have, it could either be really small or really big. And most players have it really big because you can just do that M1 Magma Eruption combo. And if you have Trident, you just Trident pull them, M1 again, do an Impale, and then do like Magma Fist or something. Like, this move is way too good. Like, way too good to have 1, no damage cap, and 2, increase its radius. Like, I think out of everything on this fruit, this move needs a nerf. Just cap the damage, in my opinion. Just cap it. It's that simple. Leave all the other mechanics. Just cap the damage to like 25 per tick. Because right now, you can go up to 46 damage per tick on Magma Eruption. So, and it takes, I think, 12 times, I'm pretty sure, or 10 or 12 times, I don't remember, but still, 46 damage, that's 460 damage at least, if it is 10 hits or more. So, doing 400 damage to someone off of 1 move, plus the M1s they did to them earlier on whatever sword, is just ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. The next move is Magma Hound, and Magma Hound is definitely one of the better moves on this fruit. It's better than Magma Fist in my opinion because it is quicker, so they have less time to PV it, but the AoE is smaller, so you do have to hit them pretty precisely. There's a little bit less grace period there, but since it is so fast, you can catch a lot of players off guard with this move, like a lot of players. It really is a great move. I think it's like a perfect move. I don't think they need to change this move at all. I don't think they need to touch it at all. Like, just leave it the way it is. And finally is going to be Magma Rain. Now, Magmarine is definitely one of the better alts in this game, probably a contender for the best alt, and there's multiple reasons for that. One is because the stamina drain is extremely low. It has a very low stamina drain. It does 2 ticks, I think, like every second, which is extremely low compared to a lot of other alts. Another thing is it has no damage cap, so you can keep increasing it. Right now, since you can only use 1200 stat points, it can go to 62 damage per hit, so there's that as well. Another thing is there's decent AoE, so you don't have to hit the player on the dot, you can hit like around them. And it's a multi-hitting alt. I think it hits like 78 times. I'm not entirely sure if I remember correctly. So there's that. You have 78 punches to work with. And in my opinion, this move does have a pretty low cooldown for an alt, in my opinion. It's the cooldown's alright right now, but in my opinion, it does have a pretty low cooldown for an alt. Now, with all this combined, MAGU is definitely like contender. You can easily say Magma's the best fruit in the game right now. Very easily. It has no damage cap on most moves. It has a ton of AoE moves. The cooldowns are low as well. That's another thing with Magma. The cooldowns are so incredibly low. Like, especially on Magma Eruption and Magma Fist, those 2 cooldowns take like no time at all to come back. Even in Arena, when the cooldowns are slower, like they take 0 time to come back. I think Magma Fist and Hecan have like the same cooldown, which in my opinion should not be at all, because Hecan has a damage cap. So the cooldown kind of makes sense, even though people complain about Hecan. So if people are complaining about Hecan, then Magma Fist having the same cooldown and doing more damage doesn't really make that much sense. Another thing is, like I said, Magma Eruption having a low cooldown, which is broken because once again it's the best combo extender in the game, like arguably. So I think what they should do for this move is, one, they should increase the cooldowns. They should definitely increase the cooldowns on basically every move, in my opinion. Like, just every single move, increase the cooldowns. Another thing is they should introduce damage caps to a lot of the moves. In my opinion, definitely Magma Eruption. If anything, out of all the moves that I think need a change, it is Magma Eruption. It is way too good. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. It is way too good. And then they can damage cap Magma Hound. Magma Rain, I think it should remain uncapped. I think that's like a unique thing for MAGU. I think that's what it should be. Leave it uncapped. Well, Magma Eruption, cap it now. Another thing is I think they should actually buff Magma Swamp and make it faster to get into, because right now the way it works is it's incredibly slow traveling and it takes forever to get into the move. So I think they should speed up the animation to get into it, and I think they should make the Magma Swamp a little bit faster. That's just me though. Like, they don't have to really change it that much, but I think the move right now is pretty useless other than PvE. You can't really use it in PvP at all. So I think that move does need a buff. And that's about it, really. I just wanted to come over here and talk about it because I recently did some PvP on someone else's account. They let me borrow it, and I used MAGU, and I literally did not lose a single match, like, at all. I never lost, even against users that I would typically lose against, especially with their moveset. I had no trouble. I didn't struggle. I easily won. Like, I wasn't trying at all. It was the easiest arena matches I have ever fought. So that's my opinion on MAGU. I do think it needs a slight nerf. Nothing too drastic, just some small changes that will make the fruit more in line with other fruits. If you guys disagree with me and you have other changes, or you just want to leave the fruit the same, leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. Once again, be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.